Hi guys, it's Grace, the Naked Barista, and I figured I would come on and talk about some things that people ask me in regards to being a nude model, and just talk a little bit about it. Honestly, I'm kind of testing out this new speaker. Hello, hello. This is not an ad. I don't even know if it's on or working. But yeah, so a lot of people have questions when I tell them what I do, which is I am a model for artists, and I have worked with thousands of artists and been drawn by so many amazing people, and I feel super, super lucky that this is my job. But to start out, people are always like, "What? How do you feel comfortable doing that?" And to be honest, the first time that I tried it, I was so nervous. Like leading up to it, I honestly thought that I would cancel. I had somebody like on call in case I chickened out, but then the second I like got in the room and just decided to commit to doing it, in the first pose I was like, this is so natural to me. This is so I feel so connected to my body. I feel so empowered. I feel so amazing doing this. So ever since then, I just continued to do it. I feel really lucky. I've had a lot of super cool opportunities from it, and feel really close to a lot of the artists. And yeah, so super privileged. And another part that makes me comfortable doing it is just the artists themselves. They are never looking at you. I shouldn't say never, but 99.9% of them are there to make art. They are looking at you as line and form and shadow and shape, and not in a sexualized way, which has been a really amazing and beautiful aspect of doing this as a job, is just being seen as art and not as like a sexual the object, or as women, I think we are objectified often just in our day-to-day life, and to work in a space where I am so vulnerable and nude, and not be sexualized, has been extremely empowering and amazing. So the artists themselves are another reason that I feel comfortable. And let me turn this mic on. Another reason that I just feel comfortable doing it is because I feel comfortable in my body, and I feel comfortable showing up just stripped down, as who I am. Like, of course, there's moments when I'm an anxious person that is in my head and worried about like being enough. But I do a lot of work to feel enough, and I think that translates into feeling enough in my body without clothing on. And yeah, I can talk more about that in like a separate video. But that is a huge aspect of feeling comfortable. And I think because I feel comfortable, the artists feel comfortable, and then it's just like a really cohesive, amazing environment to work in. And yeah, so just the ability to show up as I am and to feel good about that, and not feeling like I need to add anything on, to feel comfortable feeling seen. I think that's another reason that I feel super comfortable doing this as my job. And also I just feel safe in, like, I trust in my own intuition, and I know that I would keep myself safe in any situation that I physically can. And I also trust in that work environment. I trust the artists, and when I don't, I will say something or do something. Yeah, so I feel comfortable because I trust my intuition and feel connected to what feels right for me and what doesn't. So I kind of let that steer my path, as I do this journey of being seen by so many people in a vulnerable way. So that's huge. Another thing that people ask me is, how do you hold the poses for so long, or how long do you have to hold the poses, like what does it look like basically, and do you get stiff? And the answer is yes, I get extremely stiff. So that is something that I am always trying to navigate. I do this probably 4 or 5 times a week, and they're usually 2 hour sittings. You'll be working for 20 minutes and then have a like 5 minute break roughly. So you sit for 20 minutes pretty much max in any pose. Sometimes the same pose is held for the 2 hours, of course, with those breaks. And then other times it'll be gesture poses in the beginning. So those can be 30 seconds to 2 minutes. And then sometimes there's a set of 5 minute poses, 10 minute poses, and then it can work its way up in length. So it depends on the place that you're modeling, or that I'm modeling. And yeah, but the stiffness is so real. The poses, you want them to be dynamic or interesting, and I always want to be challenging myself and the artist. And so I'm not just like sitting there. I mean, sometimes like a slumped pose is good, but I'm not just like sitting there in a super comfortable position all the time. Even if it looks like I'm not working, I'm using a lot of micro muscles and things to stabilize my body, and that can feel super challenging and tiring. But I just use it as a practice and meditation, and feel like it's a great time to just disconnect from the outside world and kind of tap into just like my own, I would say my own like inner power. And I can go into that more in a separate video. But just really connecting with myself and with my body and showing up authentically and using the poses and the challenge within it as a huge practice. Like it's meditation and yoga kind of on steroids, at least for me. I would be curious what other models' experiences are in that sense, but for me, I think it is just a super grounding practice and really challenges me to show up and feel good in my body, and to commit to the poses, to commit to feeling like proud and confident in each pose, even if sometimes I'll get into one and be like, I do not like this at all. Like something about it isn't feeling right. You're kind of locked in. Of course, like if there's physical pain, like you can get out of it. But I really do my best just to kind of commit to each pose, like in yoga, and like commit to sort of watching myself in the pose, like noticing how I feel and seeing if I can just sit through it, even if it is uncomfortable. I'm not sure if that makes sense, but basically it's just a great practice for me. And then to get unstiff after, I just do a lot of physical movement. Like I worked this morning and I came home and walked and then did a yoga, but I didn't take a super long time to do either of them. And as soon as I just wanted to commit to doing this, and then as soon as I'm done doing this, I'll probably do like rolling on myofascial release balls. So that's something for your fascia where you can roll on these balls. That's like one way of doing it. And yeah, so I'll just kind of like roll myself out. It's basically like giving yourself a massage. So I will definitely do that because I don't want to like my body to feel stuck in any pose or any like, I don't want to have a crick neck. And you could definitely, I think if you don't take care of yourself and you had this as a job, I would be like a really really stiff older woman and a stiff now woman. And so yeah, it's super important. What else do people ask me? Another thing that people ask me is if I get bored, and I would say for the most part no, because I'm usually challenging myself again and like just doing that internal sort of work, and it's also just like the physical work of it. prevents me from being bored, and I also just like the art of it. I feel like I'm like co-creating with the artists, and again, the artists are all, I'm close with so many of them, and I try not to talk too much. Like if I'm doing a portrait, you can't really talk. But in some, like this morning in the group that I was in, everyone was talking and asking me questions, and I always enjoy that. So it's just like a nice community time. Some of them just like feel like I'm hanging out with a bunch of my grandmothers or just like sweet, sweet friends. So no, I don't get bored, and I also really enjoy seeing the artist's work, and I feel like it's so cool to see it yourself in the eyes of so many different people, just like through their perspective is super interesting. And um, I'm always really looking forward to seeing what the artists have made, and so I think that helps prevent boredom. But truly, just like the mental and sort of physical workout of staying still, um, just would prevent it because I'm working. Like it is, I'm committed to these poses and staying still in them. Um, so yeah. Another thing that people ask me is how I got this job or how I started doing this, because it is super random. And I think there were a bunch of pieces that kind of came together to bring me to this. Because I wasn't like in this world very much before. My grandmother was an artist, and I always like enjoyed creating art, but I didn't go to art school, and I was never very serious about it. I was actually a professional horse rider, so like completely different world. Um, but I always loved art, and I did take a class in like an art class in college where we drew a model. Um, so that kind of like put it in my brain, I guess, a little bit. But then just through a series of events, a bunch of people like randomly asked if I ever considered doing figure modeling. I live in a very creative like town, and someone who owns a gallery asked if I would be interested in doing it. At first, I was like, no way, this is super weird. I'm like very close with them now, which is awesome. But there were two other instances that came within the year after that, and I was like, okay, this is weird. Maybe I should at least try it. Um, and so I just ended up trying it, and I think that I was able to continue doing it and actually turn it into a career, because I am just good at sitting still, and I think that that's a huge huge part of it. I work hard at it. Like I'm not just there and doing it sort of like because I don't care. I really do care, and I really enjoy it. So I think that's huge. And I noticed that, as I said, I'm really good at sitting still. I'm literally like rocking in my seat. But honestly, making videos on YouTube is a new and kind of weird thing for me. So who knows? But, anyways, I think another huge aspect, if you are interested in making this a career or just wondering how I did, I think also just being reliable is very important, like as it is in any job. I think being reliable and just like kind person is huge. And I think that also a lot of people love that I like walk around and really enjoy seeing the art, and I think they can see that I am super interested in what I'm doing. And again, I think that's just like a quality in any job. It's helpful to like and be interested in what you're doing, and I think that it makes me successful in it. So yeah, if you are thinking about doing this as a job, I would, or just want to try it, I would say just reach out to a gallery and say that you're available, and see if they are looking for any figure models. Sometimes they do really just use models that they know are reliable and good. But I also think a lot of the times people are interested in drawing new models, and it does not matter what you look like. The more diverse bodies, the better. So I would say if you have any interest or inkling to wanting to do this or try it, I would say go for it and just ask and put yourself out there. And yeah, if you have any more questions, I can answer them. Feel free to reach out or just write your questions below, and I can absolutely give more advice. I will come on and make another video soon, I'm sure. So yeah, I hope that that was sort of slightly interesting. And if you are already interested in doing modeling for artists, whether it's portrait or figure or whatever you're imagining, I would say go for it. And I hope that this was helpful. Have a great day, you guys. I will definitely come on and make more videos soon. And yeah, bye.